Welcome back to a boat called Wanda. So as expected, it's 5 degrees again this morning. But the good news is it does look like towards the end of this week it's going to be warmer. So we've got temperatures of, 12 degrees Thursday, 9 degrees on Friday. So hopefully I'll be able to get all of that laminating done either Thursday or Friday this week once the temperature's just a little bit warmer. Now I've actually done most of the preparation, so there's really nothing left to do except, laminate. So let me show you some footage that I took last week of doing some of this preparation. So here you can see that I'm back to laying down tracing paper on the deck to measure up the sheets that I'm going to cut out. Now these are going to be quite large pieces of cloth. I'm going to limit the amount of segments to about 6 or 7, so they'll be about 2 meters long. So once again, using that very large tracing paper, I just taped that down to the deck and drew the outline of the pieces. Now a couple of weekends ago, my partner came in with me and gave me a hand to cut up all the cloth. It took about 5 hours in the end, which was a lot less than what it took me on my own to cut up all the cloth for the rest of the laminating. These are really big pieces of cloth. They're about 2 meters long. It's very, very heavy. It's 1.2 kilograms per square meter, and it's very thick and hard to cut. So with 2 people pinning down the tracing paper to the material and then handling it and cutting it, rolling it up and wrapping it up, it was just, we just blitzed it all in one day basically. So that's all sat there waiting and ready to go. Now, as you've seen before, I bought about 30 kilograms of West System epoxy resin for the purpose of doing the fairing and also laying down that last piece of laminate on deck. I'm going to use epoxy for all of that. So I want to calculate how much resin I need and do it fairly accurately because number one, it's expensive, and number two, I want to get the right amount of saturation. So I've got some calculations here. I'll just go through them with you. Okay, so here's a picture of the deck, and this was just actually a printout of one of the documents that I got before when I was getting a quote for new teak on the deck. Essentially, there's 9 pieces of material that I've cut up for this, and each one will be laid down with its own measured amount of resin. So over here I've got the weights of each of these pieces of cloth. So 2.2 kilograms for the heaviest one, and 0.9 of a kilogram for the lightest one. So I've spent a lot of time online researching what the right or the correct cloth to resin ratio using West System epoxy and quad-axial cloth. I was hoping they might actually be able to find information specifically about this quad-axial 1200 GSM cloth, but unfortunately I couldn't, so I'm just going to have to go with what the most common ratio is that I've seen bandied around, which is 60 to 40. So that's 60% by weight of cloth to 40% by weight of resin. So that means I need about 10.5 kilograms of resin to my 14 kilograms of cloth. And I've just about got enough left, I reckon. I might end up ordering another kilogram or so just so that I've got it on hand. Now I've got a new package here to open, and it's probably worth showing you this. So this is a little product called Sensor Push, and it's really cool actually. It's a temperature and humidity sensor that beams information via Bluetooth to your smartphone, so you can see the sort of historical trends of temperature and humidity. And this is what it looks like on the smartphone. You can see that over the week's period my temperature's gone from 20.8 to 25 degrees Celsius, and the humidity's gone from 25% to 35%. And so this is the temperature and humidity of that insulated box I've made up where I'm keeping the epoxy resin. So what I can do here is just add a second temperature sensor and keep track of both. And this is what it looks like basically. It's just a very, very small self-contained unit, no wires or anything, and that will beam the temperature and humidity. So I think add device, add sensor, just pop it on the smartphone, and there we go. You can also set some alerts if you want, so if the temperature reaches a certain range. And there we go, it's 9 degrees. Well, it's just come out of my hand, so it's a bit warm. 58% humidity. This will start to drop down soon. There's a couple of reasons why I bought this second sensor. When I do all the laminating, I want to have everything pre-measured out. So for each of those pieces of cloth, there's 9 in total, I want to have 9 buckets, and each bucket has got the right amount of resin weighed out, and then I'll just have like a cup next to it with the right amount of catalyst or hardener measured out, so that when I'm doing the deck, and I want to do it all in one go. I grab a piece of cloth, I grab the bucket, pour in the hardener, mix it up and go for it. So I want to have all of these things pre-made up, and I want it to be stored at 22 degrees. So I think what I'm going to do is use the aft cabin and just set up my oil heater there and perhaps a space heater with the thermostat. And once I've got that ready, I'll set this up and record that temperature over a day and make sure that I'm keeping that temperature in the aft cabin to 20, 22 degrees. And then I can just pre-measure everything, store it in the aft cabin, and then just grab it from there as I go. Right, let's get on with some work then. Well, it's very early on Sunday morning, and I've just come back to do a bit of a clean-up because there's a bit of a massive mess here going on at the moment. I'll show you what I can see. Yep, so this place is looking a little bit like a bomb scare at the moment, as you can see by all of this mess all over the floor, all the way around to the back, and also along the starboard side. Now, there is a very good reason for all of this mess, and that's because we had a very large day on Friday, and we've actually laminated all of the deck in one go. Fortunately, I had Anthony to help me. I don't know how I would have done it on my own. We started about 12 o'clock midday and finished about 6, so solid 6 hours without a break, just one piece after the other. 9 pieces in total, probably taking, I guess, about 40 minutes a piece. And this is the result. I've got my top layer on, all nicely wrapped up in peel ply. From bow to stern. Now, I've got some time-lapse video showing the work that we did, but unfortunately the battery died after about 2.5 hours out of the 6-hour project, so you only get to see a little bit of it. But anyway, let's have a look at some of that footage while I get back to cleaning up this mess below. Right, now that I've finished the whole deck project, I thought I'd go through some of the costings and share them with you, as in the past I've had a few comments about, what does it cost to do boat repairs. So basically, if I break it into 3 components, there's the core replacement itself, and then there's the deck, which consists of all the laminate and all the fairing. So the core came to £792, and of that the foam material and the marine ply came to £440, and then £352 was spent on the adhesive compound, which was the West System epoxy plus the 404 high density filler. So £792 to basically put down and glue in the new core. For the actual laminate of the deck, that came to £810. Now, of that £810 for the new deck, £410 came from the cost of the cloth. So that's basically the thick 1200 quad, the 600 tri, and the 600 chop strand. So all of that came to £410. And then there was £400 worth of resin. Now, to break down the cost of that resin, £160 was due to the vinyl ester resin, £40 for the polyester resin, and £200 for the West System epoxy. Obviously the West System is the most expensive part. And then for the fairing, that came to £340 for the fairing material. And again, most of that cost is due to the West System epoxy, which came to about £200 for the epoxy, and £140 for all the microlite that I went through. So there you go, the ground total for all of that deck work is £1,942. God knows what it would have cost if I had somebody to actually do it for me, and if I look at the labour that I put in, it would be thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. So anyway, there you go, that's a new deck done for £942, and I'm really pleased that that's done. Now, I'm really keen to get on to the next part, which is over the next 2 to 3 weeks I'll be really busy just doing all the preparation I can for the painting. So I need to really get up there and blitz all the coach roof, fill up any little cracks, open up cracks and fill them, take off all the deck hardware, sand down all that non-skid so that I can relay the non-skids and just get it ready for painting. So that's what I'll be doing next. Before I sign off, I just want to mention that I had a very special visitor all the way from Italy last night. Check this out.
Hi guys!
Hi guys, this is Richard from a boat called Wonder, and I'm with Gabriel
From C4C, from Italy.
We met up in London. We've just had a couple of beers and we've discussed all of the work that we've been doing on our Hallberg-Rassy. So check out this man's video. He's repairing a 312 and he's doing a complete restore C4C. It's one of my subscriber channels, so check out this man.
Of course, check the channel of Richard because he's restoring a 352 Hallberg-Rassy.
That's right.
And I learn a lot from his channel because he make a very good, a very deep stuff that I learn a lot. So check it out.
Thank you, Gabriel. That's a boat called Wonder and C4C.
Bye.
See you then.
Bye.
Now I know some of you guys are already following C4C. I've been watching it myself for about a year now. It's been really helpful because Gabriel's working on a Hallberg-Rassy 312, slightly smaller than Wonder but similar construction. So I've been able to sort of watch his vids and get some ideas on what's coming up next for me because he's a little bit more ahead in his schedule than I am. But anyway, check out his channel. The link is down below. He's just completed a really nice teak deck job and he's at the stage of painting the blue stripe at the moment. So he's getting pretty close to getting it ready. Anyway, thanks Gabriel. Great to see you, and I'll see you in Italy next time hopefully. And for everybody else, I'll see you next week. Cheers.